Hey guys, it's Adam here with Sierra Pacific Group and founder and creator of the CW Boss Facebook community. And we're here on PitchIT Live, streaming to our various platforms such as LinkedIn, YouTube, and Facebook. We basically help technology leaders leverage ConnectWise products to get the most out of their systems with proven best practices quickly and efficiently. We've done several thousand implementations, optimizations, and custom projects, and we have kind of the answers. We've done the hard work, so you don't really have to learn the hard way like I did in my life. And so we cut that curve for you and really improve your technology business. And I'm here actually with Sean Lardo. Let's bring him on here.
Howdy.
How you doing? I don't know. Are we cowboys today? We going Western?
Well, I mean, whatever it takes. 220-21.
Whatever it takes. It's going great. It's Thursday. It's been a long week. I've made it through a lot of really hard workouts this week, and I have so much energy today. Just a lot of pre-workout flowing through my system. I kicked ass on the rower, bike, and a ski erg. So all the C2 concept machines. So I'm like out.
Wow. I mean, slow down.
I know, right?
I don't want to see you rage out. Yeah, totally. Well, first, thanks for having me on with you as always. It's good seeing you and hanging out. I'm glad you're getting healthier. I'm a little disappointed you didn't mention I'm your significant other this time, but that's fine. Moving on.
Quickly.
So, very quickly. So we're here to discuss PitchIT. For those that don't know what PitchIT is, which I feel like everybody should know at this point because we've done so much with it, but it is the Shark Tank concept, but actually on steroids. We took it from just being where, hey, some people show up and they pitch and they might win something or get something, to turn into a 16-week accelerator program where right now there are 18 vendors involved for 16 weeks. They, during the course of the 16 weeks, are getting coaching from people like you and other various practitioners in the space with that are very well known for what they do and experts in their field, along with doing webinars with you and me and Tom Lawrence and me. And the whole goal behind that is to get some exposure for that, to get them some experience in presenting and talking about themselves and their business. But yeah, that happens all during the course of the 16 weeks. So pretty big deal. The 16 weeks will be concluded in the next few weeks here. The preliminaries will be at the end of this month, next month rather, end of August. And we will pick 3 finalists. The 3 finalists will go to IT Nation Connect in November and present live on stage for the grand prize of $70,000, first place winner, second $30,000, and third is the free booth, the access, the exposure, all the stuff that they received up till that date.
Awesome. So we just make it easier for them because we give them pre-exposure and we coach them through this live experience.
Exactly.
Bing, bada, boom, right?
Yes, but it all supports what you have listed on the bottom here on the banner, which is the 3 promises we put out, which was the easy to do business with, even more invested in partner growth, more innovation faster. And the PitchIT program emulates that on all fronts. You know, we've invested heavily in this program for all these startup vendors that are competing to have this program. We didn't invest in them. We didn't buy their companies. Just so everybody thinks, let's not mistake my words here. But we invested in the program to help them go through this program itself. The innovation is what they are. These are all innovators. And I mean, it's the first thing we ask for on the website. We're looking for innovators. And it's been great so far. So I'm pleased. I'm pleased with all our vendors we've had. They've all been very willing participants, and they've all, we had a good talk yesterday with all of them. They gave us their feedback, and we got to see a lot of progress too that they made since the start of this whole event. So
awesome. Well, I really love chatting with you, and we could do this all day long. But this actually, our next guest, does come full circle.
Yes.
I remember interviewing a couple of years ago, Elizabeth Copeland.
Yes.
Hey.
Tier2 Technologies.
It is.
Thanks for having me on, man. Really happy to be here. And like you said, come full circle for everyone else. We had a little, episode several years ago when we were just getting our first minimum viable product out. And so it's really exciting to be able to talk a little bit more about where we've come since then. So
right.
Thanks.
Well, let's talk about this. This is an episode of firsts, as far as I'm concerned. You had a first with Adam, right? When you first,
Yes.
And then you had a first with me at IT Nation Connect in 2019.
Yes.
And we go ahead, feel free.
For everyone at home, I went to IT Nation in 2019 and had no clue what we were doing. Alex, one of my business partners, myself, we were there and just walking around trying to get a feel for what a conference was. And so ran into Sean Lardo, and he kind of ran through our product together. So these two gentlemen have been really, really formative for me personally in kind of getting my feet wet in the MSP community. So thanks, guys.
And then it's the first where all three of us are together at once doing something.
There it is.
Yeah,
this is good.
This was not my time. Adam, like, he was playing like 10 years ago.
No,
it's come to fruition.
Yeah. So Elizabeth, I know you a little bit, but for those viewers out there, who are you? What do you do?
I'm figuring it out too. So I was a military kid. I got my degree in environmental engineering. I studied water quality, installed water filters in Kenya. And a part of that was I learned about appropriate technology. I learned about not giving people more than they need, not giving them a Cadillac when they just need a bike. And so these concepts kind of like guided me through a lot of what I did. And I could have gone and sat behind a desk as an engineer, but I instead decided to start my own business. I really wanted to be a communications designer, a UX designer for nonprofits and people that I wanted to work with. And so all of that, I meandered through life, said yes to a bunch of things. And then I ended up meeting Alex Permenter and Chris Wheeler, two of my co-owners of Tier2 Technologies. We've got a couple other ones. We'll talk about you guys later, but I met them and they had come up with this fantastic product, Help Desk Buttons and Tier2 Tickets. And they were looking to solve problems. And so all the things that I had learned about, helping people who just need connection, giving them a product that is useful, that doesn't go beyond their skill or their ability. All of those things spoke to me, and they were developers, and they had this little gray box, and they're like, "This is it, isn't it great?" And I was like, "It's really cute, but let's let's make it something that people are going to enjoy using." And so they're two geniuses, or the rest of our team are a bunch of geniuses, and then my kind of genius area of appropriate technology, community development, people stuff kind of weaved into it really well, and so that's where we are now.
Nice. Awesome story. So Tier 2, you got your fingers in a lot. So I know it's Help Desk Button, but you have a couple other products. Is that right?
Sure thing. We've kind of refactored multiple times over the years. So Tier 2 Technologies is our main company, and we've got Help Desk Buttons and Tier2 Tickets, which is the software that runs Help Desk Buttons. We've got a COVID check-in app. We've got a bunch of other like things that kind of tie into our MSP, like a answering service and all that, things that we've just built because they were needed. We even built a curbside check-in app for people called Curb Queue that we had launched at the beginning of the pandemic. So just really, we've done a lot. And that's the top level. When you talk about Tier2 Tickets and Help Desk Buttons, there's a ton of technology behind that as well. Where we've just basically been filling in holes that we've seen in technical processes. We want our technicians to be able to solve problems quickly. And I can get into that in a second, but that's kind of where our tech lands is how can we be a force multiplier for a technician? How can we help them focus on tech and not doing administrative overhead?
Yeah. So today, I hear MSP. So you still operate an MSP business?
We still are actively running an MSP. I was never personally a part of that side of the business, even though I have done a bunch of other work with them. But yeah, the team is still running a medium-sized MSP in the Central Georgia area.
Nice.
Yeah.
Cool.
It's good.
Sean.
I'm just staying quiet. You're doing well. Just keep rolling.
Thank you.
I owe you some time because
previous encounters, you've taken the whole show.
You were sick one day.
Oh boy!
You were recovering from your European tour. Yeah. Remember those days? Yeah.
Yeah, it's all good. All right. So Tier2 Tickets is kind of the foundation to the Help Desk buttons. And I remember, our kind of show we did a couple years ago, just kind of going live, and just for me and for the audience is you press a button, something pops open on your screen, and it records kind of the previous several transactions. You can get into more detail, and then it creates a ticket with your with the ticketing system, ConnectWise, manage with your MSP or with the client's MSP business, right? Your business, right? To summary, that's kind of what it does.
That's super close. Yeah, it's absolutely it. So, what happened with Tier 2 tickets, the reason why Chris and Alex made this product is they sat down and they're like, where are our technicians spending the most amount of time? And, you look at your tickets, you look at the data behind, what's going on. You don't just like come up with something, okay, this is where we're going to go. You actually look at the data. So look at the data and they're like, okay, open to close, where are we falling down? We've got time on ticket. We know how much time a technician is working, but how much of that is technical time? And then they realized that a whole bunch of that time is administrative overhead. It was someone puts in a ticket. If they put in a ticket, they might pull a technician aside in the hallway who's already working on 5 different things. They send a text to someone who's sitting down to dinner. They send an email and they actually misspelled the email address wrong. So tons of ways that you wouldn't even get a ticket in the first place. And then once they received the ticket, often it was a bad ticket. It was it's slow, or I broke it, or just send Joe. I need Joe. And so all of these times we would get these tickets, and it would require the technician to call the customer back and get clarity. And sometimes the customer wasn't at their desk to answer the phone. Sometimes they were in meetings all day. Even if they sent an email, they wouldn't check their email. Sometimes they left early with a sick kid, which was pretty common, right, over the last couple years. Or they were on a holiday. They just needed a break, and so they weren't there. And so you look at the overall time to close, and the amount of work that the technician is doing to find what's going on. It's been time that's not their fault. It's not the technician's fault. It's not the MSP's fault. It's just the fact that you're dealing with humans. And so what our product does, like you said, we go back in time. The user presses the button or they trigger the software. We go back in time 20 actions. We capture screenshots, the last 20 things that they did leading up to their problem. We put that into a little slideshow so you have an instant replay of exactly what they were doing leading up to their problem. And then we also capture everything that was going on that device at that point in time. And we package it up into a beautiful report. We pre-flag things that look problematic as good places to start. And we send that to our MSP's ticketing system with a really easy way for the customer. The customer doesn't have to remember a password. They don't have to do anything technical, know anything technical. Everything's done for them, and a technician receives a perfect ticket every time.
So
that is a lot. Hang on.
I just got to. So wait, what's your college degree in again, Elizabeth? Let's just go back to that again.
Am I using too many dime words? I'm sorry.
No. What's your degree in again?
Environmental engineering.
Okay, right. Okay. So, and you were purifying water. So you were like Pauly Shore in the Army now as a water purifier, right?
Basically.
Right. So how did you end up from that to this? I'm just curious.
I say yes to a lot of things, is the short answer. But the bigger answer is...
Drinks on you. Yes.
I'm sorry?
Drinks on you. Yes.
Oh, yes, absolutely. Just Sean, though.
You said yes to everything.
But yeah. So, for me personally, I am always looking for where I mentioned force multiplier, and I hate saying that. I've said it multiple times, but it is so important to me that I'm investing in something that is harmonizing the world around us. There's so much noise. There's so much competition. And specifically as an end user, so I'm a Mac user. I'm a front end dev as well as head of operations. And so I heard all of you collectively groan. So one of the things that I've experienced personally, as well as helping my grandparents or whatever, is that there's a huge disconnect between a technical person and the person that they're helping. And so as someone who has always felt like a teacher, as someone who's always looking to harmonize, as someone who's always been a big sister, it was something that was important to me to create a product and to get behind a product that was creating a new future for our conversations. It was creating a new future for assisting people, instead of having a growing divide, which technology is outpacing us significantly. Even I was talking with Alex, the co-owner, or one of our co-owners earlier, and he was saying, as a technical person who solves this, I don't know everything. And I think that's something that really is the cornerstone of our product, is how can we help everyone kind of improve communication. And that's, for me personally, why I jumped from engineering. Also, I didn't want to sit behind a desk all day. But that's it. I didn't, engineering to MSP world, it was a happy accident that allows me to use my strengths for something that I think is really, really important.
Awesome. And now we can, you know, I can move on from that now. I feel better. Just because, I mean, it's a big jump, right? It's a whole different lifestyle.
It is.
You were purifying water and then you were working in technology. I mean, granted, there's no technology in purifying water. We can use that spin off, of course. But the reality is, it's a whole world, it's a whole different language.
You know, you say that, but at this point, I talked to several thousand MSPs, and it's been really fascinating to see that no two MSPs, no two owners have the same background, and that's been really, really cool to me. I think multidisciplinarianism is really, really key to moving forward. I'm on a webinar with Tom Lawrence tomorrow, and the last webinar I was on with him, I mentioned that I want
thank you.
but specifically, I'm sorry, Sean. I love you. But so I, one of the things that I said is like, I want Star Trek: The Next Generation to be real. I want what we do to be able to build to the next thing. And so for me, that background is kind of seamless for me. The focus on taking a technical thing and boiling it down to the nuts and bolts of why we're doing the thing, and is really really all that an MSP owner is doing. It's saying, what are the true needs that this person has? And we've got so many MSP owners that are moving from an MSP to a consultant role or something like that. So what are the true needs that you have? There's what you say that you need, and then there's what you actually need. Let me give that to you. And so I see that you don't want water and computers to mix, but I think the concepts at the very base are the same.
This is great.
Yeah, thank you, Elizabeth, for stating the water and the computer. I mean, it's good that people should know that.
I'm here spouting truths as long as
you are.
So anybody that watches this or any of my lives, they know that I'm really, really critical on the client experience, and I believe and I know that your software does enhance the client experience and for MSP businesses. And we just had Seth just make a comment about his client satisfaction grew immediately, immensely rather, and your help desk buttons can be completely branded, and it's a huge thing because I consult and coach clients, and it's like, how can you make sticky? Put your logo in front of them. Just don't buy water bottles that can be tossed or whatever, or pens that can be tossed. You put something on the desk that's usable. Put something in their hands that can touch and feel, and with the logo on it, right?
Absolutely. Our product, not just the physical button, which this is the physical button here, or one of them. But you can brand this, and then the software itself is completely brandable. In fact, that's something that we've worked through is, having a good relationship with AV systems, because we're giving each MSP their own unique install of their software, their own custom software. So we're really proud of the tech behind that. That is helping not only have that USP, that unique prospecting, what we're offering, but that's something that you talk to an end user and they don't understand what's different between you and Joe's MSP down the street. You talk about your security stack and how it's so much better, and how Joe got hit by ransomware, but you haven't yet, or however that works. And not that I'm wishing that on anyone, but no one understands what your MSP actually does. And so if you can give them something, like you said, that's sticky, that gives them, okay, I just hit a button and you solved my problems, that improves the communication and improves the relationship. And yeah, it helps people close more sales too.
I like that. No, I think it's user experience is everything. It makes it easy. Well, user experience is everything on two fronts. One is for retention, of course, we know that exists, but it's extremely important. But on the other side, the sales reps having you said it before about you want to be part of something, feel good about something, and do something, right? I feel like most people, when they go into a company of any sort, they only part of something that does that, right? So to have something to deliver to somebody that's already a user experience, you as a sales rep, you can feel much better walking in the door. You feel more confident about it. You feel better to say, yeah, hit this freaking button. You're done.
Well, and I absolutely, from the customer experience perspective, it is a clear win, and we have dozens of partners who maybe you guys are here and you want to drop it in the chat of your experience of walking in a door and just handing someone a button and saying, hey, what do you think? And they're immediately sold. But beyond that, it also gives technicians this moment of clarity and sanity before they call a customer back. The conversation is no longer, hey, Mrs. Smith, thank you for calling. Let me take a look at your computer and see what we can do. The conversation is now, Mrs. Smith, I've already taken a look at your computer. I've already seen, the last couple steps of what you did. I know exactly what's going on. In fact, I have a plan of attack and I have a second one that I ran by another technician. So it gives this level of power and clarity to techs. It gives them this agency that they already have. They're already doing, they're already going to be doing this diagnostic work. They're already going to be grabbing this information, but it's already done for them. And it's already pre-flagged where they need to look. And so I've really enjoyed that aspect of this as well. It's not just about the customer experience from a visual standpoint, it's from the whole experience, nose to tail, cradle to grave of the ticket.
So, and the button is only one element of the offer.
The button is one element of the offer. Really, what I like to boil it, I told you that there's a lot going on with our software. What I like to boil it down to is there's the software that makes it really, really easy to put in a ticket, walks the customer through some very simple questions that are customizable. And the physical button launches the software. Beyond that, we have integrations with YesManage, but over 16 different ticketing systems. And from there, we can triage tickets. We have a really powerful automations platform based on Python, so you can triage tickets to certain queues, technicians, types, subtypes. So you've got automations that can touch the ticket and give your technicians, again, less administrative overhead. And then we also have automations that can give the customers activities, self-service activities, dynamically based on what they asked for. So these automations are all powered by an AI that we built, machine learning neural nets. It's got TensorFlow logic. It's really smart. It's really cool. You guys can play with it at ai.tier2.tech. There's actually a public AI for it, or API. So you've got this really, really easy way to put in a ticket. You've got this whole ticket handling process that you can automate. You've got this report that's coming in with every ticket. And then we also have some communication systems. We've got toast notifications built in. You can do push or automatic toast notifications. So every step of the way, you are able to touch tickets less. You're able to give customers exactly what they're asking for, and you're able to solve tickets quicker.
Nice. So it's a complete experience.
Absolutely.
So, and actually, I saw a couple comments that were being made. There's some of those from the people watching. First off, it's good for customer service in regards to just being very upfront of a process. Second, it's a time saver, which is, I mean, that's one of the biggest conversations you have with MSP owners. It's like, how much is your time worth? How much did you allocate to these tickets? How much cleanup did you have to do? Because your tier 1 techs and tier 2 techs weren't able to fill the void and fix the problem because of anything we can name. There's a million reasons why. I mean, how much money is wasted? So that's a big deal. So when you work with MSPs, what's the experience look like working directly with the MSPs first?
Are you asking like what the onboarding experience is, or what we've seen MSPs out of the product?
Onboarding first.
Onboarding, yeah.
Oh, onboarding, our API is very straightforward. I've seen people onboarded with perfect tickets every time, 15 minutes. We also offer complimentary onboardings where a developer will sit down, and we've got this really extensive checklist where we can turn on all of the features, make sure that everything's running smoothly, and then help get you deployed as well. That's something that we're happy to do, and that normally we block an hour, but that's just like for questions and stuff.
Nice. So
yeah,
15 minutes and they're ready to go.
Absolutely. I mean, when you log in, we've got a fully featured free tier for 25 endpoints, as long as you need it. So small guys that are just getting started are welcome to use it. And as soon as you log in, we already have it pre-filled with our branding and normal commonly used choices for like the checkboxes and radio buttons and some of the text, because again, it's all customizable. Sure. So depending on how custom you want it, of course it can take longer, but you can literally have it installed within 15 minutes. Yeah.
Okay, and that's my next question. So if I wanted to white label it, what's the average workload required or responsibility required for me to do that?
We were really intentional about making sure that we didn't demand too much of the MSP. So we allow the MSP to upload 3 images, one for the desktop icon, and we use that in multiple locations for the software. We've got one for a pinned to taskbar icon. So I kind of glossed over this, but you can launch the software with a physical button, a desktop icon, a pinned to taskbar icon, which was a whole thing for us to program, and then also a hotkey. So you can program that, and then you also have a longitudinal, long ways landscape image as well. And so we wanted to keep it really, really pared back so that smaller MSPs or growing MSPs that don't have access to their own designer could backfill that. The rest of the white labeling, you can have it say your company's name pretty much anywhere. And then I'd say 98% of the fields are customizable. And the only reason I specify that is we're working on having it fully 100% customizable for our multilingual partners. So
awesome. Okay, cool. And so that might take a little bit more time. Obviously it does. Is there any price point differential for white label to keeping your label? No? Okay.
Absolutely not. We price solely on volume. We wanted to scale this big, and so we prioritize costs and we pass that right on to our partners. Billing is the least interesting thing we do.
It's the least interesting thing most of us do. It seems to be the crux of everybody's problem sometimes is the billing aspect. I mean, my Lord. Okay. So how many partners are you guys working with approximately today?
I don't have that number off the top of my head. We launched early 2019 and had 500 people sign up in 2 weeks. So we've kind of grown from there with people actively using it or not. I think as a team, we don't particularly want to share those numbers publicly yet.
Fair enough.
So, all right.
Can we go back to that comment from Mr. Bipolar? That's awesome.
Oh my God, love it.
So
good picture too.
So
it's fantastic.
Let's talk about the reports.
Mm-hmm.
So, well, I have my question is kind of twofold here. The first part, the very important part to me that I always back to user experience is we talk about making sure we try to eliminate portals. Too many portals for MSPs to log into become too much of a problem, or even for their end users as well. Same rules apply, right? Any user should not. The reason why Amazon is so successful is because you're able to see 1 million brands within one website or one app, right? So the integration, the ConnectWise exists, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And how does that integration? What's the relationship?
So it's an API integration where we are going to be putting the ticket in as the customer's email. We look up the email address and put the ticket in as that customer. What the technician receives, that we made this assuming a technician would be living in Manage. We made this assume, we didn't want them to go in multiple different places, but we did as we were putting more information in this report. And I don't know if you guys have seen this report. It is long. There's a bunch of information there. You scroll a bunch, but there wasn't a good way to put that directly into ConnectWise. And then also, we wanted to be sure our goal when it comes to customer data and security is to be impeccable. We want to be top of the pack. We want to lead our cohort, our vendors in how we handle not only customer data, but also, account, access as well. And so that's something that I see my CTO mentioned transparent pricing a minute ago, but that's something that, Chris takes very seriously and is often coming up with things. So to address that. So talking about the integration with ConnectWise Manage, specifically, we have a link to the report. And all that data is pulled client side. You can actually have a cloud compliance package where you can host your own data as well. But we do segment that off and require login so that we can have a paper trail of who's accessed what from what IP address at what time.
So it sounds like there's some content and reporting that goes into Manage, but we'll use it. Was it a Cliff Notes almost? And if they want the full novel, they have to go get the report from the platform itself because there's too much to get. That makes sense because you can only fit so much if an aquarium is this size, this is the amount of water that goes in it. Okay, I'm doing it for you, Adam. You're welcome.
Thank you. With you moving your hands and everything, I got it. I like it.
Yeah. So I almost want to because this sounds so phenomenal, right? I want to ask you, what's the limitations? You know, it doesn't seem like there are any limitations in regards to this because it's pretty dead on. It's a very practical, seamless solution, and it's all you guys didn't become convoluted in solving other problems that weren't in your lane. It sounds like.
We what are the limitations? I want to be very clear. You know, talking to Adam, when this product is completely different than when we talked 3 years ago, and we built this with MSP feedback. So I want to be very clear. I'm going to mention some limitations, but they are on the roadmap and they will be done within, I think, the next 6 to 12 months. That's the plan. So one of the things is this is an operational tool. It's currently PC only, but our Mac client is very, very close. I know that that's a common thing. I already mentioned Max earlier, so I just want to go ahead and get in front of it. I know that for a lot of our partners managing multiple teammates, they need to have SSO. That's on the roadmap. We won't put that behind any sort of paywall. That's going to be done soon. And then we've got a very light touch on multi-tenancy. We know white labeling is super important. In fact, I didn't mention this earlier, but like, we expect it. We want it. We want the MSP to be the hero. If you hear about help desk buttons, fine, but like we made it a very generic name. We specifically want the MSPs to get this as an operational tool, pass that cost along, retain better clients, retain better techs. Like that rising tide raises all of our boats. So so white labeling is super important. So we've got like grouping and tagging. We kind of wanted to have we wanted a better way to like bring in grouping and tagging and have different options. And we're still kind of working that out. But I'd say that's the 3 things that we've heard from partners. And that's the 3 things that we are already addressing. So if you're looking for limitations, I think that's the list.
No, that's good. Okay. So you mentioned single sign-on. What's the single sign-on for?
For managing the technicians logging into the account. We know that a single pane of glass is important. We know that people spend a lot of time managing accounts.
Sure.
So we want to make sure that we're listening to our partners with that.
Okay, cool. And then multi-tenant. Are we talking multi-tenant from MSP to clients, or what is the, or is it, because I'm trying to understand, because I'm assuming pricing works around that as well. So go ahead.
Well, I mean, I'll answer the second thing first. Pricing doesn't work around that. We're pretty straightforward. It's like number of licenses. We're transparent. You can go to tier2tickets.com/pricing and you can see for the number of licenses you want exactly what you'll pay.
Awesome.
But for multi-tenancy specifically, we know that no 2 MSPs are the same. Some places are going to want to have their brand on everything, and some places are co-managing. Some places are, they're dealing with an internal help desk in addition to their own, or something like that. And so we want to make sure that we're sensitive to that need and approaching it because again, we want the MSP to be the hero, and it's their job to determine what that looks like, not ours.
Perfect. Okay, cool. And then coming back down to integrations in general with APIs. Are you doing this in any other platforms other than Manage on ConnectWise?
Yes. So we currently have 16 different ticketing system integrations. We've got
been real busy.
That I got to give a shout out to Daryl Ebanks. He's our lead integrations dev. He has been fantastic. He knows like literally everything. I don't know how he holds it in his brain. So yeah, we've got integrations. We've got an email connector. So if there's not an API integration, you've got options there as well. And then some of those integrations, they don't have the fullness that Manage would have. With some of those like toast notifications and other features that we kind of alluded to. We can also pull the report on demand or automatically if you're using configurations in Manage. So you can automatically, no matter how a ticket's created, have that report attached to it as it enters Manage. But so some of those features aren't, some of those ticketing systems don't have the full features of the full API just because of limitations of those ticketing systems. But yeah, we're out there.
Good for you all. Seriously, I think that diversity is so important in this space because again, no 2 MSPs are alike, and there's all these ticketing systems exist for a reason. It's not because they weren't needed. Everybody buys from who they buy from, so that's impressive. And I'd imagine when you start talking about single sign-on too, you can look at other platforms with single sign-on because if you're able to pull reporting, and I'm throwing this out there, like I always somehow every platform and every project we talk about, I feel like they're all intertwined with each other within this competition in the first place. I feel like, and QBRs, we can go with that right now. Like I can see things that you guys are doing being relatable to give to a QBR
Absolutely. We pull warranty information. So yeah, absolutely.
Everything above and beyond. I mean, hell, even if I want to talk to my client about, you need to upgrade your stuff because you keep on putting tickets in, and here's all the reporting.
Yeah.
Like when they say no,
exactly.
but here's your reports. Here's what's the problem.
Yeah.
So that's impressive. Now, do you guys have like an integration in the QBRs?
No,
I don't even know if it makes sense.
We've had conversations. We I think on the distant roadmap we would like to have some better reporting for these types of things, because we've got warranty information. We actually pass the customer's email address to have it been pwned, so you could have a conversation about digital hygiene as well. There's a bunch of stuff that we flagged that's going to be useful for a conversation like that, or for upgrading your hardware or network or something like that. So we've had these conversations, but it's not a we've got a few other things we want to finish first.
Sure, I'm sure. That's great. Adam, I took over the call, so go ahead. I'm sorry.
You did, and I was just going to say that since all the information feeds over to manage, and then majority of the business appraising tools or QBR tools that are in the marketplace right now, and some we've even interviewed on this, PitchIT, they integrate with manage, so you can probably get the information out that is fed from, and I just love the help desk buttons tagline. It's the perfect ticket every time, right? It's just around capturing those previous steps, creating the data appropriately, making sure the users, whoever's logged in the computer, has that captured email address, and just creates a ticket inside the system. And that's always been a big struggle, for MSPs, that it goes to what I call the catch-all account on a help desk board that it doesn't know who to alert, what to do, and then dispatch kind of drops the ball a little bit. Right? It's always the typical struggles as running a dispatcher or help desk inside an MSP business. So yeah, this is great.
Absolutely. Yeah, stuff that we just again, we're just kind of like plugging in holes, and then we had a full product there, and it's been a lot of fun, frankly, to be able to build it and create something that we've got MSPs that are saving 60% of their time to diagnose and resolve tickets. So nose to tail, like we didn't look at those numbers before because they didn't mean anything because of the inefficiencies of just dealing with humans. But to be able to say, an end user doesn't care that you have this number of man hours on the ticket. What they want to know is, I put this ticket in last Tuesday and it's been 2 Fridays. Why isn't it done? And so I think that's really, really powerful, and happy to be able to offer that to the community.
That's awesome. So now, go ahead. Adam, go ahead.
No, you go ahead. We just said awesome at the same time.
Well, we're
so cute.
We're like brothers.
Right?
I love it.
So I know we're dwarves, aren't we? Like, totes and dwarves. Totes. So okay. So all right. So we covered pricing. We covered onboarding. We covered the user experience essentially, and you also covered features you're like launching later. My God, you've covered it. We've done very well so far.
We are going on target. So
this is good for Adam. Goes crazy. He can, if you don't know about Adam, timing is so it has to be on time. Like he starts losing it.
I'm an engineer, man. Yeah, love it.
Yeah. For sure. You and Adam will be a great conversation piece. I just want to move something out of the way, and make it late to see what happens. That's.
So you're in this PitchIT, you're a contestant in it. What are your overall goals for yourself? With hey, if you win, what are the kind of plans? That's big prize money.
It is. The big plans for us is really, and I had this conversation with the team this week, is we want to just get this out there for people. We've priced it. Competitively isn't the word. People tell us all the time to raise our prices, and we might be looking at raising our prices at the end of the year, but we want it to be a no-brainer. The most you'll pay currently is 75 cents an endpoint per month, so less than a Coke to be able to solve problems for customers faster and make them happy. It's we try to make it just super simple.
Yeah.
So the end the end goal, I think, for doing PitchIT specifically was we're an MSP. None of us have run a SaaS business. None of us have done marketing to this level. None of us have, we've got some really fantastic people who have been so open-handed. Like, we started this conversation talking about how the both of you were so helpful to me personally. There's been many people in the channel who've been just mind-blowingly good to us. But with that, we wanted to be able to have the foundation and the skills to take that and act on it with wisdom. And so for me personally, it's about structuring the business. It's about taking that money and putting it back into the company. We've joked as a team, like, what is a number that we would ever sell for? And that number doesn't exist. I mean, it does for me. And it's a very big number because I believe in this and I want it to happen, because I think it's something that not just the MSP community, but people who deal with computers and don't know what they're doing need. And that's a place that we can bolster the community as a whole. So PitchIT itself, very, very useful, I think, for getting our name out there. But more than that, we just want to create something that's going to last, and that makes a difference. We've got a lot of other stuff coming down the pipe that I think the rest of the community will like too.
That's really awesome. So no jet skis in the future. So that's good.
I like my feet on the ground. No, I don't do horseback riding or skiing.
Yeah. Well, that's really, really cool. At the end of the day, there was a couple comments that, you guys care a lot, and we do, and we see that, and it's been really, really great tool. So I want to close out with this. Tell us a fun fact about yourself.
Goodness. I feel like we've already covered a couple of fun facts.
There's one you gave.
There's one that you actually gave us.
I know. I was, trying to be creative. So I am a blueberry muffin connoisseur. It happens kind of as a part of like traveling. You travel places and you're like, oh, I want to have a little treat while I'm doing this trip or whatever. In addition to 20 grams of protein, which you should be taking care of your health, people. But balance is key. So I've been.
Thanks, Martha.
I'm sorry.
I said, thanks, Martha.
You're welcome.
Like Martha's still like, hey, gotta get your grams of protein in.
It's important. So I've been on this journey of like, what's the perfect platonic blueberry muffin, like the platonic ideal of a blueberry muffin. I think all muffins are platonic, but what is the platonic ideal of a blueberry muffin? And so I've been like trying a bunch of blueberry muffins, and I've got a spreadsheet of about 20. That's true, Amelia. I'm very, very particular.
That makes so much sense. It's so spot on.
I love it. I love fantastic. It.
Okay.
It's, crumb, blueberryness, texture. Topping is important. So I've got a whole thing. If anyone's curious.
Can we skip to the most important part? You have a spreadsheet.
Yeah, I do. I love spreadsheets.
Did you see? It was so magical. I love spreadsheets. Like
I think I'm more excited about mentioning spreadsheets than blueberry muffins. Frankly,
you are. You had that twinkle in your eye when you said spreadsheets. It was pretty impressive.
Love a good one.
So So how long has that spreadsheet been running for? I think it said on there, right? How long? 3 years?
Yeah, I think it's 2019 is the oldest, maybe 2018.
So for 3 years, you've been tracking blueberry muffins.
I want to know where the best blueberry muffin's at.
Duncan has the best commercial blueberry muffin.
Commercial?
Duncan?
Yeah. That's if you can look aside from the fact that it's just a sugar topping. It did get dinged for that, but overall flavor and crumb, very, very good.
With that, Sean, it's your turn. You get the crumbles inside your beard. I'm going to go try later today a Dunkin' Donuts blueberry, and I will report back.
Please do.
Oh, my goodness. I don't ever even go to Dunkin' for anything.
Me neither. Just
like anything.
No,
I don't go either.
Yeah.
But you know what? Fine. I'll go try one. Fine.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway,
let's close this out.
Okay. Yeah. Well, any last thoughts from you, Elizabeth?
No, I really can't overstate how grateful I am for people like you guys in the channel. I think that's been a really common thing as we've been going to conferences. How much, not just other vendors, not just coaches, but other MSPs care about the success of each other. And I think that frankly, anyone could call, my business partner, Alex, and talk about MSP stuff, any questions that they have. And I think that's a very common sentiment. And I think it makes us stronger. Often we think that we need to like segment off and silo off and be like the strongest or the bravest or whatever, and we're really all in it together. And so I really appreciate you guys doing stuff like this. I appreciate the opportunity, and I look forward to working with anyone who's interested in our product.
Fantastic. Where do we find you in the future?
So you can find me. Are you talking about like conferences
Yeah.
or? Oh, well, so we're going to go to this little thing called IT Nation. I don't know if you've heard of it. So we'll be out there in November, and we don't just a few times, yeah. And we don't really have anywhere else physically that we'll be, but we are active in the MSP Geek Slack communities and Discord, and you should just reach out to us, and we will happily just chat with you about anything you got going on.
Nice. Okay. Thank you. So, I mean, my closing notes are simple. Again, I'm a big fan. Cool. Shut up, Adam. He's asking you. Elizabeth wants to hear this. See, I said I'm a big fan of Elizabeth. I always have been. But no, seriously, you guys have a really good product. It fits. You have a product market fit, and that's the most difficult thing I think I see when people want to start their own company. They have a good idea or a concept, but they don't really make the product really fit the needs. We already know that help desk is a struggle across the board everywhere because you can't perfect it, so I totally appreciate that part. And also on the sales guy in me really appreciates it because I can confidently just say, we got you covered. We're going to take care of you because we've already eliminated. You're almost a communication tool.
Yeah,
that's the reality. You are an enhanced communication tool for simplifying messaging. And that's big. That's humongous. That's the biggest. Everything is lost in translation. That's usually the biggest mistake. Like you said, I mean, I am a culprit of the communication problem. Like my computer don't work. That's my ticket. Okay. And then I get the stupid question. Did you plug it in? Yes, stupid. I did. You should know I already did that. But really, how would you know that? Because I didn't tell you that. And I might just not, but I thought thinking about it. Or did you hit the power button? And so yeah, I totally appreciate that. The efficiency and what it does and the practicality of it to me is a big deal. So I like that, and I'm glad you guys are in the competition for sure.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Sean. That's been fantastic. Elizabeth, it's been a pleasure again. Tier2 Technologies. Be sure and check out their website, tier2.tech. And I believe I left it in the comments as well. It's been fantastic, kind of seeing everything kind of come together and your organization growing. It's been awesome to see that. I look forward to seeing you at IT Nation Connect. And Sean, we are here next Tuesday at some point and sometime.
We
have a little scheduling conflict, but Thursday definitely be here, 10 a.m. Pacific time, 1 p.m. Eastern time, for some more PitchIT for sure. So you'll get the social media blast out there in the marketplace. Yeah, it'll be fantastic. And Elizabeth, it's been a pleasure. Thank you very much. Talk to you later, guys.
Deuces.
Bye.